Ever since finishing the cylinder head, every episode has been a little bit more exciting than the last. So for this one, it's gonna feel really satisfying because we're gonna be putting on probably the biggest parts of the engine bay. We gotta put our clutch assembly in, the transmission, which obviously would then mean that we can get the engine to support itself in the engine bay all by itself, intake manifold, the valve cover, and then like we can start cooking from there. I mean, I can start putting in all of my my wiring connectors, all of my vacuum hoses, things like that. And then obviously, you know, we've got the fabrication and stuff that's going to come with that. But what I want to focus on primarily is getting that transmission bolted back on and kind of finish dressing up the engine. And then we can kind of take it from there. So let's head over to the bench. I've got my clutch assembly that I'm excited to show you. It's the same one that I had before, but cleaned it up, looks nice, you know, whatever. We'll get it bolted on and we'll kind of go from there. Before we slap the transmission on, of course we gotta swap out our slave cylinders. I'm gonna get the metal one, but I had the plastic one laying around already from purchasing a long time ago, so let's make use of that. So that ended up being a lot more challenging than I remember it being. I have done this a handful of times by myself before in the past, and I don't recall any of those being as difficult as this one. So not entirely sure what about it made it so tough. I feel like I had better tools at my disposal than I have had in the past. But here we are. There's definitely a lot easier ways to do this, like removing the transfer case and stuff like that. I am aware of those, but I choose not to do them, and because I've done that in the past without having to disassemble anything other than just take the box out, pop the box back in, I just continue to do it that way. But yeah, but it doesn't matter. We're in, we're installed, so we're good. A huge milestone that it's going to allow us to kind of move a little bit faster here. Now, as far as what I want to do next is, I initially wanted to make the wiring kind of its own thing. I wanted to rebraid it, make it look nice, and I'm still going to do that, but I don't know that I want to do that right now. My main focus is really getting to the point where I can start tuning the car, driving it, testing it, and then we can make iterative changes from there. You know, the wiring harness is fine as it is right now, so it doesn't require anything to really change. I mean, I might clean it up, but I'm not going to go through the process of depinning, braiding, and doing all of that. You know, we're going to do what's necessary to pretty much get it started. If it's not too much out of the way to make it look nice, you know, I may do that, but I'm not going to dedicate a whole lot of time in just making it look nice and cleaning it up right now. So with the transmission on, I mean, I did update a few things. For one, I finally got around to getting rid of these bushing isolators for the shifter mechanism, or I guess like the shifter bracket. Those have rubber isolators with a metal insert, whereas now I have a full metal case that the bolt goes through, so that should eliminate completely all of the deflection in our shifting capabilities there. And another notable thing that I've been meaning to do for a really, really long time is swap out the factory clutch line for a stainless steel straight through clutch line. So mine in particular came with the cylindrical dampener, and that's just a restrictor of fluid, so then, you know, as you push the clutch in and disengage the clutch, the purpose of that is to kind of ease that engagement. Real nice when you're daily driving and stuff like that, but when you're really trying to disengage and engage the clutch, when you're really going through those gears, that becomes a problem. So really happy to have that solved, done, and taken care of. So yeah, I guess moving forward, I'm gonna go grab the intake manifold. We're gonna get that popped on. And then I think I'm just going to start putting the harness kind of in its home. Obviously, we still have a few bits and bobs here that we have to work around, but at the very least, it'll get us into that planning phase of what needs to go where, with everything in place, rather than, you know, finalizing some design choices and then finding ourselves in a position where we're like, shoot, now I got to redo what I, you know, spent a lot of time doing. So we're just going to start putting as much as we can in place, and we'll take it from there. So I'm gonna go grab the manifold, and I'm actually kind of excited for you guys to see it. So for the time being, I think I'm still going to leave the tape and everything in there, just in case, you know, we have to install, uninstall, and then that way, you know, I don't have to worry about dropping anything in there. So we'll just get this mocked up for now and situated. But I'm really happy with how this thing turned out. Wasn't sure how it was going to look. I'm even more excited to actually throw the valve cover on here. The valve cover for sure is going to be the last thing that I'm going to bolt up. And that's just primarily because I don't want to scratch it. I did paint that as well. And it is not black or silver. It is an actual color, but we'll wait until we're a little bit closer to having things a little bit more finalized. Like I said, I don't want to put it on here and then still have to, you know, we got to do a bunch of stuff around here Last thing I want to do is scratch it, gouge it. You know, I thought it turned out really nice, so I would like to keep it that way for as long as possible. But yeah, this will be fine because this is a little bit tougher, and it's black, really easy to fix. So, all right. So, the intake manifold on there. I think I'm gonna grab the map sensor, air intake, and yeah, we're just gonna start putting stuff together. Let's run it like this for now. I can't decide if I want to run this underneath some hoses or if I just want to run it over, but let's just go over for now. And then as we start running the rest of the harness, I can always readjust. So this is just going to be temporary fitment, just so then you can get a pretty good idea of how this is going to sit. But we got to do some welding on this. I have to put a quick disconnect on it, but we will wait until later for that, for the throttle body. But then this way I can kind of get, you know, an idea of these clearances if I need to rotate. We're going to put on as much as we can. So we'll just mock this up. I also got to get a gasket for it. Not entirely sure where I'm going to get one from yet. Not that it's necessarily super difficult. It's just got to be an 80 mil, but we got to get one. So. So we got most of our wiring in. We have a glaring issue here, as you saw, the extensions on these injectors, because these injectors are shorties, they're a little too tall, so it doesn't allow the fuel rail to completely seat. Now there isn't any fear or anything of this popping off. I just don't like it that, you know, there's some space here. I don't want to run custom spacers because I don't, you know, we don't need to do that. And I don't want to grab washers and stack to create a spacer for that. So I think instead what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if I can find some smaller spacers for the injectors, and then that way it allows the fuel rail to sit a little lower, and then we can bottom out on that. But aside from that, you know, I'm pretty happy. I'm gonna put the front clip on here. This is looking more and more like a car. This looks really good. I don't know, I think stoked would be an understatement. This looks really good. You know what? Just to give it the full effect, let's go grab the valve cover. Let's get that thing installed. I want to see what this thing looks like relatively all put together. All right, so the yellow pops so much harder in person. The video does not do justice. Pictures do not do justice. Now, I know that this wasn't necessarily the most exciting work. It certainly was not for me, but it was very much necessary work. This is, I mean, from here, we're kind of stuck on the fabricating side. This is where we're gonna have to kind of go through that trial of error of taking things out, readjusting. But for the most part, like we're getting to that final stretch. Like I said, I've just got some exhaust work to do. We've got to do the intercooler piping for both the throttle body and obviously from this side of the intercooler over to the turbo. And then of course the fueling and then tuning. That may sound like a lot, but I kind of clump it into 3 bits: the fabrication side, the fueling side, and then the ECU. So I'm really looking forward to all of this. I'm really happy to have this portion done. Like I said, not necessarily the most exciting thing, especially for me to do by myself, but certainly the most exciting thing to have done and checked off the list. I don't have to worry about it anymore. So we can start bolting more stuff up. And I mean, look at this. It's looking more and more like an engine bay. We're getting close. We're getting real close. So I appreciate you guys watching. But yeah, with that being said, I will catch you guys in the next episode.